So we have a quorum, so we'll call the meeting to order. Catherine had sent out the meeting minutes from October 14th, 2025. I reviewed them. They look great. Thank you so much, Kath. Are you talking, Catherine? You're on mute. Oh, Catherine's. Are you trying to talk, Catherine, or? Yeah, the meeting minutes look good. I reviewed them. I don't know if everybody else had an opportunity.
Yep.
So did anyone have any updates to them or?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. They are accepted. The next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. I don't know. I emailed Ken.
I actually have a current updated
Oh, you do?
figures, yes. He
Okay,
sent
from
me-
Ken?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes. Our historical commission expense fund, which we get $1,000 allocated. We spent $304.61. Our ending balance is $695.39.
Could you say that again with the last?
I'm going to give this to.
Oh, you give it to me. Okay, yeah.
And the historical commission emergency fund is $19,095, and that's the ending balance because nothing's been drawn on that recently. And there are the figures as of
Okay,
today.
great. So we have 695 left. Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks for doing that research for us, Joan.
Mhm.
So I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is updates from the historical commission mailbox. I checked it maybe a week or two ago. There wasn't anything in there, so I don't know. Did you check it, Joe? No?
No.
Yep.
The driveway's locked.
Oh, yeah, they lock it, I think, yeah, as soon as the town hall closes, so. I did check it, I think, either this week or last week, and there wasn't anything in there, so. So the next item on the agenda is the West Upton visioning. I had popped into the visioning meeting, I think it was last week. It was on Wednesday or something. I stayed for about half of it. They were just kind of recapping what went on down at the West Upton Center. They kind of walked around and discussed ideas. I could only stay for about half of it, so they spent a good portion of it just updating what they had done during the tour. Nothing super consequential that I heard for when I was there. So that's all. There's going to be another one. I can email if people are interested in attending. I can find out the date. I'll make an action item for myself. Find out date for next West Upton visioning and email to the group. So
Excuse me, could we get to Catherine first? I know she has another meeting to get to.
she's up next.
Start the conversation on the beavers at the Concom until 8. So I'm actually really interested in
All
what's
right.
going on in West Upton Center anyway.
Do you want to sit through this meeting or not?
Yep. No, yeah, that's.
You're talking about tons of stuff, believe it or not, I don't really care about right now.
Yeah, actually, you're up next,
Yeah.
Kathy. So, I don't know if you wanted to just kind of give us a description of what the plan is, or. Okay, sure, yeah.
My name is Kathy Robertson. I'm a chewing member lifesaver. I live on 59 Fowler Street in Upton, and I'm here representing my mother, Cynthia Robertson, who lives at 59 Mechanic, and is currently residing at 118 Warren Street, because she's staying with my sister while she recuperates from a broken hip. And so Christine Daha, I think is how you pronounce her last name, from Kamoli Construction, is on remotely. Steve Kamoli, who I think has been in touch with you guys, is on a plane somewhere up there somewhere. So, I came by to give you a little bit of the history and the nature of the request. This is probably one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life, because that barn, was, I grew up there. And my brother and my sister and I, we had animals in that barn. We had all sorts of racing pigeons, tumblers, homing pigeons, exotic pheasants. I mean, we had everything there. We won the Grange share every year. And, so I still remember it. And the last thing we really wanted to do was take that part down. And my parents moved to the property around 1963, maybe 1964. I attended first grade in Princeton and second grade in Upton, so it was somewhere in there. And before that, it had been owned by Skip Carpenter, who's an antique dealer. And Skip had made the home in the barn into, where his antique store was, and his display area was. In adapting the barn to be an antique store, he actually laid out its demise. Because what he did was, I don't know if you folks are familiar with the barn, it's on the corner of Mechanic Fowler Street, it's this big old barn. He took out the granite foundation so we could get stuff underneath. So there's a foundation on both sides, but the other is just like on the front and the back, but the sides broken. So that removed major support from the barn. He also took out some really major cross beams because they didn't get in the headspace to get some of these bigger pieces in. So those were down. We never noticed it. We've been using the barn. We've been happy as anything. And then about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, my daughter, who's in construction, started looking at it as a possible site for a workshop. And she noticed that one of the major beams in the basement, in the bog, was cracked. It was a major cross beam. So not being a construction person, I said, well, fine, we'll replace it with jack the barn. Well, that's a great idea. And I did have friends of mine come in to sort of assess the condition of the barn and what it would take to jack it up. And basically they looked at the age of the beams. And I didn't know this, but you can tell by the way beams are cut when they were installed. And so the beams in the basement of that barn, the original cross beams, were put in between 1940 and 1960. These are not professional estimates, but Chip Kent, who does, historical restoration, he was riding his bike one day, so I pulled him over. And then Ken Ray, he does makes furniture with reclaimed wood, so he knows wood well. So they sort of looked at it. So my mother, we were a little bit concerned about safety because we wanted to see what it would cost to restore it because we knew it was going to take restoration. So we hired a company, Colonial Restoration, which does, it's probably one of the top rated historical restoration companies around. They do Public House, Old Sturbridge Village. They do a lot of, serious historic work. And the guy came in and I think he was terrified because what's happened, and you can see it in the report I sent you, and I went through the barn with him. The roof, I don't know what these things are called, my daughter would. The roof is supposed to go like this, it's like this. The whole supports, for some reason, they were supposed to be like big, what is it, 2 by 4 or something. But he put them in so they're actually boards where they're joining the cross beams. So that whole roof is held up by these cross beams that have no real support. So the general, what the guy concluded, which is in the report I sent you, was that the barn was not, it would cost $500,000 to restore. And I think, I know that estimate is very high because he's a historical restoration person. But in any case, it's not a matter of just jacking it up and repairing a couple of beams. The whole barn has to be reconstructed. And so you might be able to get it down by a couple $100,000 if you didn't take the historical route. But that's still out of the realm of possibility for my family. So, there was really no choice but to look at demolishing it. And after speaking to Brad Green from Colonial Restorations, he sort of stressed there was an urgency to it. The barn is about 10 or 20 feet from the road. So if it collapsed, it could impact traffic on Mechanic Street. He said that the barn, could maybe stay up for another 10, 20 years, you never know, or it could go down tomorrow. You could look out your window and hear a bush. Now, about 30 years ago or so, I think, my parents did hire a company to cable the barn together, because my father thought that would do to protect it. And it did, it probably bought it another 10 or 20 years. So the barn is basically tied together with these really thick cables. And so, my dad, so that's it.
Yep.
But anyway, so that's where we stand. So we hired Kamali Construction, and he was pulling the permit, so we, had to do the asbestos. We knew there wasn't asbestos in the shingles because we already did it, but he did that, and then, we had to come to historic because it's over 75 years old. So that's a long-winded approach of where we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it. But I do want to say it's not what any of us really wanted to be happening.
Yeah, the barn's beautiful, but yeah, it sounds like it's in rough shape. I'm glad that you guys went through the process of having the evaluation done. It seemed like a very professional evaluation. So I don't know if anybody had any other thoughts about this.
I was just wondering if it's going to be torn down, would anybody be interested in salvaging any of the building to rebuild it someplace else, or?
When we talked to folks, including Brad Green and Ken and Chip, they all said a couple of things. One is that the barn isn't really historically significant. It's not like the one, I think it's a Van Fawcett farm up on, that they're saving right now up near Main Street. It's a really big barn, and there's nothing really special about it except it's a cool barn. So it was not recommended that we take that route.
What did you say was the, like, how far back does it go? Just.
How old is it?
It's the barn.
Well, that article said that the guy in around 1786 bought
Yeah.
a house with a land with a barn on it. I don't think it was that barn, because that barn, according to the people who get rid of the beams, that the beams the original
From what?
1840s.
Oh, okay.
So, if there was a barn on the property, because there were mills.
It's old, but
Yeah,
it's not as old as we
Yeah.
would think on that property and.
But there were mill foundations on that property so I don't know where the barn was. This guy bought the property with, it may have been in the same location, I don't know. But this barn, the conclusion was it wasn't historically significant, nothing worth, spending $500,000 on. And the other thing that we did discuss was, not demolishing it, but basically dismantling it so people could reuse the wood. And again, Ken does that for a living. And Ken said no, because you'd have to go through so much crap wood to get to any good stuff. And you have to, instead of just bringing a big piece of equipment in to whack it, you have to bring a crane in to methodically, and it just
Yeah.
costs
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
and it's not worth it because there's not enough good wood in that.
Well, I'm glad that you investigated that, and you have any answer
Yep.
to that.
I wanted to save it.
I know.
So,
Yeah, when I saw that picture, I went, oh, that barn. Oh. Just as kind of like a feature right there on the,
I don't
Corner.
wonder, it's in the
Yeah.
guardian of that property, right, on the
Mhm.
corner Mechanic and Fowler, yeah.
But
That's where we stand, and my mother, really wants to see it down before winter, just because she is concerned about public safety,
Yeah.
so. That's where we are, so I think what Kamoli Construction has done, we hired them, his plan is to come in mid-December. I think the second week in December, to take it down and then just take everything away.
very sad, but.
Yeah, it is.
But
Too bad.
hearing the story and the research that you've done, really, sets it up as to, there's really nothing else you can do.
Guess that's what I'm struggling with. What happens if we stand in the way of demolishing it? To what end?
I mean, and then it falls down next week in the middle of the street, who knows?
It's been standing for 200 years. I'm sure it's gonna fall down next week, but I
No.
haven't decided. So, I mean, yeah, I appreciate the fact that you've explored with professionals. I always believe professionals' estimates are higher than they need to be, but
And we took that into account, but even $300,000 is,
it's.
I was hoping we could do something for like 50 or. Which would still be a stress, but we could do it.
Can't get all the neighbors enough to combine, take it down, put it back up again. Like they did in 18, whatever.
Mm,
No, I actually thought about, someone suggested, I guess there's an Amish population in Boston and in Mendon. You're talking about, reconstructing, I mean, the barn as it stands now cannot be repaired. It's a question of whether it's, about rebuilding maybe something, a barn smaller, get the same on that. I don't know if that will happen. I don't think.
Is there stonework on three sides or just two?
He took,
The two ends?
well, where it is, it's the two ends have the full foundation. And what he did is you have probably about 4 feet on either side of stonework, like there's a little L. And then the whole middle is open. I could draw a picture,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
but the sides are mostly open because Skip wanted to get stuff in the barn.
Huh,
Cause you can almost like drive through the center of it,
You
right?
can drive the center. And it's not the headroom, but you could drive a really wide truck with this.
Okay.
I'm not good with distances, but I would say it's probably about 25, 30 foot base,
Yeah,
without probably 20, without any support. And that's a big lack of support.
yeah.
And part of, it's half open, we just, we have a beaver dam, which is why I'm going downstairs, and the storm came out the other night and washed the beaver dam away, and it's a much easier way than to have to physically
get rid
make
of
the
it.
decisions to
Yeah.
take the damn thing down, but the barn is still up. The beaver's coming back.
So, yeah, they'll be back.
So what we should ask for is full photographic documentation of it.
Mm,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
at least we have that.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Exterior, interior? You can do an archive of the barn. which might
If it
be-
glances on me, it's your fault.
Don't blame me.
We can do
I
that.
just think that's the one, at least we should do, if we're gonna approve it, is to document it and put it in the archive. And
mhm.
And I can try to scan that and look for any other, stuff that we have, information we have on the barn. My mother's been going through her troves of paperwork and looking for stuff.
know the Daily News for 1842 was
Yeah.
the weekend party the boys had.
So, but yeah. So I can make a copy of that for you, and I can, get my cell phone out and take some pictures inside.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I would say with appropriate photographic and other documentation provided by this lovely lady, that I recommend we approve demolition of, I make a motion, we approve demolition of the building.
I'll second.
Demolition of the building.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
I with a regret.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
Okay, sounds like it carries unanimously.
Okay, now, there doesn't have to be another meeting, correct, Steve? Steve Kamali can still move forward with the December demolition, or do you have to?
we've approved it, now you need a permit from the
Okay.
building. So.
And I'll email the building inspector and say that's been approved
Okay,
after the meeting. Yep.
and I just get you I don't want to, I'll get out there. Allow it to go.
Yeah.
It's now that I know the condition it's in, I go in the park.
And Mr. Kamoli do the pictures, don't you?
Yeah, couldn't he do it?
Christine, can Steve do the pictures? Christine's on mute. I'll tell Steve it's part of his
Yeah.
job. So,
Hi,
okay.
yes, it's Christine, sorry. Yes, we can take pictures.
Okay,
That would be fabulous.
so just tell him he's taking a picture.
I will do that, yes.
Thank you, Christine.
We're
Yeah.
hard
Okay, no
hat.
problem. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, folks. Yeah.
Thank you.
And taking one thing down and going down to defend on protecting something else. Ain't life
We
interesting?
were gonna have the 300th parade through that barn, but no.
And we're gonna give the beavers the wood,
Did you
take it down to repair their ears.
want this back?
Yeah, yeah, because I'll,
Yeah, you need.
I'll just scan in a copy for you.
Great, thanks, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Kathy.
I'll send John email after this meeting. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is First Cemetery updates. All you, Ed.
Well, good news is the townsfolk approved 125,000 for the restoration project last Tuesday night. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I spoke with Mr. Westgate earlier today, and he had some concerns that the quote we had from Stumpy's, they were no longer on the preferred state tree company removal list or whatever. I talked to
That's
Stumpy's.
because they don't get paid as much.
Talked to Stumpy's directly, and they said we are absolutely on the preferred state list. We never come off it. We're on it. So I talked to Neil, who's the supervisor of streets. We replaced Johnny Johnson. And he said, yeah, my wife Dennis told you that. He says, we knew that they were on the approved list. So I emailed him a copy of the quote so he wouldn't have to look it up and say, please call them and schedule it for December sometime when they can get in. Stumpy said it is a solid 2, possibly 3 days work, which is what I guessed from the fatty of the quote, that it wasn't a single day's work, so. But the highway department has to get in there and move all the stones on one side of the entrance to widen the entrance, and they have to put steel plates down over the culvert for Stumpy's to bring their $1 million crane up in there. And,
Is it gonna be wide enough for them to get the crane up there?
it's wide enough. The crane,
Yes, they checked
they had a
that.
crane up there, what, 12 years ago?
Oh,
when they
okay.
Produced, not this crane, this crane,
Yeah.
I don't think this crane's 12 years old, but. So that's the highway department's issue, and that's my biggest concern, is not scheduling Stumpy's, but the highway department has tasks they have to do to allow it to happen.
Right.
So I asked Neil if he would execute the call to Stumpy's to authorize them to proceed and to put into his plans the work he has to do to make it happen.
Yeah.
With sufficient time, so all that's good. I also asked Mr. Westgate where he was at with reviewing the RFQ I prepared. Of course, he is absolutely overwhelmed with the 2 jobs he's trying to do. So he said he will send it to town council. I was gonna send it out to the 3 parties as a quote, but I guarantee it will exceed 50,000, which requires formal bid procedures. So I said, I think I've got almost everything written up in the quote that is required, but he's gonna send it to town council, have them review it for completeness or whatever. And if they're happy with it, or if there's a couple of changes I have to make, that's fine. And then it has to go on Combis, which is a state bidding website. It has to go into the newspaper. Hopefully he'll take care of all that, although I don't know. But at least he said, well, there's no hurry. He says, you don't need to do this till next year. I says, well, it's probably a 3 to 5 month lead time for anybody to do anything on it. And I was hoping that work could be done this winter, if we could release the work in December or January. And maybe have new stones prior to Memorial Day next year. Trees down, new stones, gate, and sign. So that's what I'm pushing for.
Ambitious.
It is.
Dave from Gravestone Guardians did help me last Sunday, the 4th. Yeah, last Sunday, the 4th, or the 3rd, whatever day that was. And we finished the last marble stone, the David and Martha Chapin pair that are inside those 4 granite posts.
Mhm.
Completely repaired, marble filled with all the cracks. I even had to lower Martha's stone about a foot which was challenging, but I did that by myself so that both stones now stand like they did when they were installed at the same height. Looks fabulous. David's stone needs a little cleaning in the spring because it was darkened from sitting under the trees for 200 years, but both are completely repaired back in place. And I'm even, if I can find the time, I was going to submit photographs to Atlas Preservation. That's where we get the materials from. They have a contest every year for interesting repairs. And I think with pictures of the 100 pieces that David Chapin's stone was in before we started, it would be an interesting. So
Yeah,
do that at some point.
Huh.
That'd be cool for the social media too.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
don't-
that's done. The RFQ is, like I said, 95% ready, subject to town council's review and any modifications that may be needed in it. We repaired all the stones that I think can be repaired. And Dave even said he is willing to move to Bradish next year.
Oh, really?
So we'll see. And I had a hard time getting him back to finish this stone because he's now working full-time in Concord. He was working from home, so he had plenty of time, but that's an opportunity for next year to move over to Bradish, which is a much smaller, more contained site.
Mhm.
Bigger stones and things to be fixed, so. So that's where it's at. So my hope is tree removal solves the biggest problem, which is the environment. We get those out of there, we don't have to worry about things falling and moving, and then we still have to find someone to go in there and grade and remove all the tree stump grindings and stuff, which there'll be piles of at each stump, fill in some potholes and ruts, get the highway department to put the stones back at the gate in some fashion. Maybe leave it a little more open than it was before, and then we can call the fence company for the gate. Mr. Fence, I think is the quote I've got from the DPW. And we can work on the sign with Signs R Us down there in Milford, whatever they
Yep.
call themselves. For next April timeframe. So that's the game plan. And the book is, I went through it again a couple weeks ago. Book is as near complete as it's gonna get, needs a little more work, but there was 12 or 13 or something like that, that I cannot find the origins of the individuals, don't know where they came from, who their parents were. Couple, I think, one was an immigrant, which kind of surprised me, early 1700s. Craggy, Craige, Cragge, Crage, spelled in various different ways. They married into the Tafts. And there was another one, I think the Taft, I think there's a Robert Taft, and I think his wife was possibly, and I can't prove it, a Quinlan. I don't know what ethnic origin Quinlan is, if it's Scottish or Irish or English, a couple of Irish people. So interesting group of people that moved here in the mid 1700s after the town was formed. Of course, there was those that the Tafts that lived here at the time the town became Upton. So we've got that. So, and we authorized at last meeting me to spend up to another 250 of materials, but I'm not going to buy anything at this point. So if anything changes next year, I'll bring it up for discussion again. So I gave Dave all of the epoxies and putties and stuff that I had bought. Basically to replace the stuff that he used to do the repairs for us, so that he was made at least somewhat whole. So, yeah,
Alright.
Very good.
Well, great work.
11, 12 stones got repaired and put back into place. And the last thing we did after we fixed the marble stone is there was one large stone, I think it was a Fisk, but I don't remember. That after we put the top back onto the bottom that was still on the ground, it was 2 feet out of line with the family. So we actually dug it and moved it back 2 feet, and it turned out that it was 34 inches below ground.
Just 3 feet.
Didn't expect that, so we had to dig down 3 feet to get.
So obviously that's where it was.
3 feet to put it.
It
Yeah.
sunk, did it sink? Sink into the ground?
No,
Oh.
no, it's just, that's how, it was a 6-foot stone.
Wow.
The whole stone when put together was a little over I think.
Can you imagine them transporting that there and
And
setting it?
you, 4 people couldn't pick it up. I mean, we used to hoist, and
Yeah,
we got the hoist on, we jacked it up, we still couldn't get it out. We had to raise the hoist up, a couple of, there's legs that come out. We raised it up, still couldn't get it out, raised it up a second time, still couldn't get out, raised it up a third time, and then picked it up, swung it over and dropped it in the new hole we got.
Wow.
And now it's in line with the family, and it kind of debated where, it was probably where it was put, but why it was put 2 feet out of place, I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Now you'll never know, it's nice in line with the family. And we had moved, Mrs. something. Her footstone was in line with her headstone. Not opposed to it, but in line with the family stones. And I think in the 1998 repairs that were done under the historical commissions, I think it was the footstone was repaired. So here's the headstone, here's family, and then here's the footstone, and the whole time I'm looking, why is it over there? It should be.
right,
So that got,
where your foot is.
that got moved, and I think Martha Wood's stone, which is the oldest in the cemetery, 1749, is all the way down at the tree line. And the footstone was up top in line with some other stones, so that got moved down to with the headstone. So those stones had to have been moved at some time by people that weren't sure what they were doing, I
Yeah.
guess. And
Huh.
they still remain with the Peter Holbrook headstone and footstone out of the ground, not certain where they go.
Hmm.
And I have.
Was that the one I found?
Yes.
Yeah,
The headstone, I believe I had put down the bottom of the cemetery with the Holbrook lot 4 years ago. Because it was up above and it was laying on the ground. And then going through all the documentation, it strongly appears that it belongs up on top someplace. And I'm still waiting for the manuscript from the New England Historic Society that promised me they would scan it within 2 to 3 weeks, and that was 5.5 weeks ago. I emailed her a week ago and she said, well, they're running behind. She's gonna try.
obviously.
Gonna try and get it done this week. This week was last week, so I still don't have it, but I'm still in hopes that that will reveal at least 1 or 2 small secrets before I place that stone. And maybe we'll reveal who the stone is that was erected to the memory of Benjamin somebody. So it's the best chance we're ever gonna have because the manuscript is 1904. There's nothing else that exists prior to that, so.
Huh.
They would tell us whatever there is to be told and that'll be it. So the book won't be finished till I get that manuscript and we finish a few more things next spring and then we can discuss printing it. Printing 20 or 30 or 50 copies or whatever, doing something with it. Right?
Right.
Sounds good.
A lot of work, excellent work, wow.
Great job.
It was fulfilling until I got caught up with the software project with the town. And I know it's time for next spring, probably.
If you need help shoveling those chips, let me know. I'll swing by for a weekend.
Yeah, I know when I did Maplewood, Glenn Fowler actually came over with his tractor with a bucket on the front.
Oh, really?
And it would be nice if I could get mine over there or somebody's, not have to hire somebody
Yeah,
that's gonna charge us $15,000 or $20,000 to do some grading, do it ourselves, but I would need a couple strong backs and a piece of equipment, so maybe we can explore that next spring.
Okay, yeah. Give me a call.
Somebody with a trailer.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that. I got a shovel and a wheelbarrow.
I know where I can get it, I know where I can get a trailer, flatbed trailer.
All right, we'll remember that.
Yep, you remember it, yep.
Put that in the minutes, Catherine. Russ says he knows where he can get a trailer.
Sounds good.
So, yeah, I mean, my hopes was to have as much done, probably not everything, by Memorial Day next year, because we do go over there for first stop on the Memorial Day tour is, well, the second stop, right?
Third stop,
Third stop, yeah.
third,
Lakeview, Maplewood, and then First Cemetery.
it's a third step.
third stop, yeah.
Be nice to have it reasonably cleaned up, and Tim Rock with the DPW has done a fabulous job cleaning up
You did,
the cemetery, so it was one of those things where once you clean up a room or a house or you paint it or something, people want to keep it that way. And I think it's got the same momentum, that it was such a mess, nobody cared.
Right, right, yeah, it
And
was a mess.
We put up a sign, we put up a gate, and we cleaned it up and replaced some stones, that maybe some people along the way will want to keep it that way. Document it better than it's ever been documented too,
Yeah,
archive that.
it'll have to be somebody from the historical commission who keeps it up though. So,
It's got the three musketeers with the cemetery commission, they'd be happy.
well, they don't have authority though. It's only the historical commission can do, right?
In theory. Yeah, technically, I wouldn't even look at it. So that's the update.
Great. Great work on that. All right, so the next item on the agenda is, I had emailed Mike Antonellis regarding the trimming of the bushes and cleaning up the,
Oh, the common, I saw that.
yeah, oh, you saw that? Yeah, I haven't heard back from him though, so
No.
I don't know if I should send him another email and ask him what's going on with that.
Maybe they're waiting, they might be waiting for the
Springtime?
tip project.
Well, the tip project isn't gonna impact the common.
No, but they'll be working down there.
Yeah,
Well, we watched wife and I watched a movie last week, prison movie, great movie, I can't remember the name of it.
Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption, and in there, the guy that became librarian decided to write a letter to the state for funding.
Right, so whatever.
And he wrote one every week for 6 years, and finally he got $200 out of him, and he says, now I think I'll write 2 a week. So I wouldn't hesitate a month apart to send a friendly reminder.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about the trimming of the hedges or something, or removal of the hedges next to the 2 monuments? Because the common has nothing to do, I'm told, with the tip project.
There's a meeting with Monday night, I believe, community center on the tip project, I believe.
Catherine, do you have a question?
I have a comment.
Yes.
It doesn't have anything to do with the tip project. I know that is true, that they were very sure that it wasn't going to affect the monument. But I did notice, I think it was planning board, but I'll have to find it. There was something out for changing the way that the common is designed and consolidating the memorials all at the end that the World War II and Vietnam and Korea memorial is right now, and like replanting trees. There was essentially like a development master plan, but just for the common, that I happened to come across this past week when I was looking for something else.
Huh.
So I'll send it to you, because it might be that if they do what was proposed, and I don't know that they're going to, this was an external, like, here's our plan that we have been contracted to make for you type of deal. If they do that, then they will move the World War I monument and make the essentially front half, the half towards the intersection, be just like green space, and move all the memorials towards the back side, which would imply that they will cut down those U's and the horribly scraggly like Christmas tree that's 90% dead, and a bunch of other things in that process. So maybe they're not necessarily looking to revamp it until they know if they're going to revamp it in the way that they had made this plan. I'll find it for you and send it to you so that you can see what I'm talking about. But it's just my theory as to maybe nobody's done anything with it yet, because a plan is in process for like renovating the common. It was the first I had seen anything about it. I wasn't sure if it was just another committee's thing that doesn't have anything to do with me. But it was news to me. So I'll send it to you so it can be news to you too.
Interesting. I would say that's interesting thought, and my observation of the common is it probably wouldn't hurt for a little redesign. But maintenance and redesign should be two separate things, and to ask the question about, how about a little maintenance? And
Yeah,
while
but then the
somebody else
DPW.
worries about whether there's gonna be, the DPW going over there and removing those shrubs or trimming them back substantially or something and cleaning the stones wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Because it'll be Memorial Day before we know it. Here it is November, and I'm sure not much is gonna happen through the winter, so.
Mm.
Yeah,
So I'll
Yeah.
ping Mike.
yeah,
Bucket.
follow up.
Okay. Action item.
so if you wanna show up Saturday morning with a chainsaw, I'll help you.
Yeah,
I
it
wish
was,
so.
it was from a thing in March, so I'm sorry, I just pulled it up. It was from like it's a common plan and streetscape design from the March 26th public meeting regarding town common master planning and streetscape design. Anyway.
Yeah, I seem to remember that conversation. I don't know if it was at a select board meeting or.
It was part of the conversation about what kind of lights we should use. I don't know if you remember being part of
Yes,
that.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I
do
think
remember that.
these things are related, but I hadn't heard this part about relocating monuments and like sort of what should be moved around if anything and what should be planted if anything. So that was news to me. Anyway, I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool, great, thanks, Catherine. That will be very helpful. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is social media updates. I don't know if we have Patrick on the line. Yeah, I see him there. Hi, Patrick. I think you're on
Hello,
mute.
everybody.
Hey,
Hello.
do you have any updates for the social media?
No, nothing important, but hold on one sec.
Although
Yes,
we
you
were talking, didn't you say that you did have some sort of update? I forget, I remember talking about something, but
Are you talking about what I emailed you earlier?
yes.
I can, if we can touch upon that in new topics, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
The only kind of update we have for social media is the Mendon Upton Parents Group is now back up and running. I'm sure some of you probably have noticed that it was basically went off live for like a couple weeks, and part of it has nothing to do with us, but within the town, back in September when current events were a bit tense and tensions were kind of high with people's opinions and thoughts. I know the moderators of the Mendon Upton parents page kind of stepped back and was kind of letting things kind of settle in regards to some of the national current events. But it's now just up and running again, which is great. And so far, people have been pretty cordial, courteous, and respectful of each other.
Okay, good to know. I didn't realize that.
So that's really the only thing it was kind of a bummer, because usually for like for Heritage Day, we luckily the Historical Society Facebook page promoted and got some things out. Everyone from Ellen to Scott did great jobs putting things out, but because they went offline, like we lost like a chunk of just easy publicity before Heritage Day, which was kind of frustrating. I understand why they, I guess took a step back, but I know a lot of folks in town were very, it's a source of communication, especially within our small community. So it's great that it's back, and I believe it's the same moderators. I think there's one or two new friends that have access, which is great.
Great, yeah. Yeah, we had a pretty good turnout for Heritage Day this year, but I think it was a little less than the year before, but it was still a decent turnout. Okay, sounds good. The next item on the agenda is Upton's 300th anniversary fund. I know during the last meeting, we were talking about accessing the funding
I
or
got
something.
nowhere,
Okay,
no response from Ken about.
that's Ken who
I
needs to do it?
asked him in a couple of emails. But I didn't get anything. The only thing I got back from him were those two accounts.
Should I try emailing him again and seeing if we
Sure.
can get somewhere? Okay.
Again, so.
Like writing a letter once a week.
Twice a week.
He does put out a formal package
Oh, does he?
every month or every 2 months. He used to.
No, it didn't happen for a couple of months. That's why I
The
didn't have a
controversy when
report.
I was on the cemetery commission was he wasn't gonna send it to everybody, and I know Joe Layton said he should be sending it to the chairs of each of the commissions,
Yeah.
nobody else. Not to leave you up, but that something should be sent, somebody here should be getting
Somebody should get
the
it,
full
yeah,
accounting picture of the town.
right. He was sending it to me.
We can pull our accounts out of it.
I guess he didn't send it to anybody for a couple of months.
Well, that might be on me. Maybe I should scour my email and just make sure.
Because I used to download them, save them on my PC. I mean, they were several page long, all the accounts in town, and the update every month or 2 months, something like that.
I get so many emails, like I could easily have lost track of that. But I'll take a look and see if I have it. All right, so,
We're spending a lot of money and worry about our accounts changing, but
yeah. Okay, so now we're on to topics, not reasonably anticipated. I don't know if anybody has any topics they'd like to bring up.
The Historical Society is going to have two programs next week.
Okay,
One will be in the morning at the library, and it's going to be about the history of the Upton Library.
oh, that's right.
And they also have one of the display cases, and they put up a whole new display about the history of the library, and it's very well done.
Oh, interesting.
And today, the coolest thing happened. Ken Paulson's brother, Stephen, came over to the museum and just kind of walked in and went, hi. And he said, I just came to see the museum. And he was walking around and he goes, oh, my father made that. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, the stained glass window up there.
the little
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
And I've noticed it once in a while up there, but I didn't know what it was. And I said, well, where was it? You know, and he said it was out in front of the library out here. They had a sign, and his father, what's his? Carl, made this small little stained glass that shows a tree and a little boy with his back up against a tree reading a book.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is there in a frame.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like in rough shape because the stained glass piece is falling out of it needs to kind of be shored up somewhat. And I said, they should take that when they go over to the library for the history of the library. You know,
Oh, yeah,
talk
good
and
idea.
bring that with them.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
could always ask Ken or Lars to repair it.
right.
Still got the-
It's just a
still got
matter
the-
of tightening up the frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, the frame just needs to be tightened up. So that was kind of interesting. And the other presentation they're going to have, I'm thinking the library one is on the 18th at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then on the 20th in the evening at the community center, they're having a presentation about the history of the police department.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
interesting.
And Scott has so much information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does. Well,
He's a wealth of knowledge about the town.
Yeah. That's for
And
sure.
yesterday, a couple from over in Hopkinton had contacted us a couple of weeks ago and said the father was interested in collecting fire memorabilia. And he recently passed away, and they went through all of his stuff.
ooh,
And there's a brass bell mounted on some kind of a stand. and it's hanging and has a label on it that says from steam engine something Upton, Massachusetts.
Oh,
And Scott said it's from Niagara 3
Hmm.
and it was a horse-drawn engine. And it serviced the town into the early 1900s. And this bell was on the back of it.
oh, kidding, wow.
And now we have it back again.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, because they still have that on display in the fire station, that Niagara, don't they?
That's the other
That,
Niagara.
that's another one.
Oh, it's a different
Yeah.
one. Oh, okay.
That might be Niagara 1,
Okay.
which Scott said to me, took 30 men to pump it,
Yeah, yeah.
15 on either
Yep.
side.
Those,
And then, of course, through the years, you know, how things get improved over the years and everything's made a little bit better. Well, the next engines that they had only required 2 men
Oh,
to
really?
pump them. And of course, all of these other members of the fire department, you know, and Scott said it was kind of prestigious to be part of that group. And it was like a club, you know, and they didn't need those 30 other extra people. Well, they needed some of them, but, you know, but to do the pumping, they only needed 2.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah,
the brakes are still there with the fire, with the engine over there.
uh-huh,
You can see the big long poles that
right, yeah.
they were there with the,
Huh. So very interesting stuff coming up and Scott has really done a great job stepping up into Tom's place.
Yeah,
And he has lots of visions about where the society is going to go and hopefully, you know, some of those things will come to be.
yeah, he was rattling them
And
off to me. Yeah.
And he's got programming up through the whole year.
Yeah, he was rattling off all that
Yeah.
programming to me
Yeah.
after that
Yeah,
arson presentation.
right. That was interesting.
That was interesting,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah, it was.
didn't know anything about arson. No,
So he was telling me about a murder the other day, when he was doing, getting ready for this police thing. And it was the Bradish murder.
Yep,
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yep. I know about that.
yeah,
Oh, Russ was telling me, you were telling me about that.
yeah.
The
Was
murder.
I?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
So that's going to be part of the presentation, I
Yes.
think,
Oh,
in the
okay.
How long,
police.
how long ago was that murder?
Early 1900s.
1800s, yeah.
He was a blacksmith or something? Was he a blacksmith?
No, I don't know what it was.
Yes, Patrick, did you, or were you all done?
I'm done.
Okay, Patrick, did you have a topic to bring up?
I did. I'll try to be kind of brief because I know I haven't heard back from Scott, but kind of like what Joan's saying, I mean, he is definitely, programming just keeps coming out and it's fantastic. I mean, everything I know, we have the Declaration of Independence program happening in the winter with Nipmuc students, which I think is going to be awesome. And I think it'll get a lot more kids engaged and involved. And on top of it, good timing, you know, we have that Ken Burns documentary coming out on Sunday on the American Revolution. And a little birdie tells me that there might be some mentions of Blackstone Valley in this documentary.
Really?
If folks didn't know, apparently some of Ken Burns' researchers and such, they were doing some, and mind you, they've been working on this documentary for the last going on almost 10 years now. They started in 2015, this, you know, the work. And I guess they did a lot of reach out to Blackstone Valley area. So I'm curious. I have a bet to see if they'll mention Upton, Mendon, or any of our surrounding towns, because I guess they're going to be focusing on, you know, some of the narratives we know about the American Revolution, but really kind of dive deep in, which Ken Burns we know does very well at doing.
It's interesting you mentioned that because last night I was watching an interview with that guy Theo Vaughn. Do you know of him? He's like
Oh, yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
a comedian. He was
Yeah.
interviewing Ken Burns and he was talking about that documentary. It was a pretty good interview.
Yeah, he's if you ever get a chance to listen to Ken Burns speak, podcast or in general, the gentleman, he is just a fantastic storyteller. He's also great at he can just weave stories and just get you engaged very well. I don't know if we could ever afford him to come to Upton, but if somehow if we have money, we should make I mean, he's a New Englander himself. Like he lives up in I believe New Hampshire, so it would not be a far trek for him to come down. But I haven't heard back from Scott, but for our next meeting, I do want to talk about National History Day and about possibly the commission maybe sponsoring an award, because right now there's not many historical societies that sponsor awards or do kind of like outreach when it comes to NHD. For folks that aren't familiar, National History Day, 700,000 students participate around the country. They're think science fair, but more they basically pick a topic, they research it, they present it basically as either a documentary, a website, an essay, an exhibit, or a performance. And it's the ultimate thrill for watching these these soon to be students of history really show their expertise on a topic of their choice. And this year's theme, very fitting because it's the 250th, it is revolution, reaction, and reform. And I sit on the Teacher Advisory Council for Massachusetts. And every year they're always looking for historical societies, groups passionate about history and about maybe giving back and possibly either sponsoring, whether it's an award or a special kind of prize for these students that participate. In Massachusetts alone, we have around 10,000 students that compete at the regional, state, and we send a bus of students down to Washington, D.C. to compete against the best in the nation. So I definitely want to revisit this for our next meeting because I do want to talk to Scott, but I figure it would be a good kind of venture between both of our groups because again, we have the ability and we also have a lot to offer. So just putting that out there on everyone's kind of radar.
It's good.
Yeah, it sounds great. I think that's a great idea.
Nothing more exciting than, a bunch of us sitting around this table.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
cool. Yeah, that'd be great. Let's see. Oh, the only thing I had was, I was wondering, am I supposed to be submitting the report, the annual report for all the things we did this year to the select board?
Yeah, they'll ask for that probably late December, but.
Late December,
It wouldn't
okay.
hurt to,
Up and down.
yeah.
Okay.
All I can say is what I did in the past was go through the monthly minutes of each meeting.
Yeah, that's what I'll try.
Track what we did in a year based on what we put in our minutes
Yep. I could probably run it through.
with an eye to the
ChatGPT.
way they've been formatted in the past, Yeah, it's a sad year from this standpoint.
Yes,
Yeah, we lost a lot of buildings
What
this
do you
year.
do?
right.
Sit here and say, no, we don't want you to tear it down.
Yeah, how would you do? You can't say, oh yeah, we want.
They
you to
don't
tear
have
it.
$500,000 to make.
See, you
it pay out.
quiet about salvaging the wood.
Yeah,
Just
Salvaging wood. I used to watch a show, Barn Builders.
Yeah,
yeah.
The South, they'd go and find these 200-year-old barns and take them down and salvage the wood and build a house or a new barn.
There are junkyards. So there's a couple of junkyards around it that take down old buildings and save the wood
yeah.
and put.
well, question about Holy Angels. We don't have any update on anything going on over there.
Yeah, it's pretty much, oh, that's a good question. Did we get any update on closing those windows? There's two windows that are open.
I've heard nothing.
Okay, I don't know how we would get,
Like which windows?
there's a window in the
Big-
back,
Oh, in
in
the
the
back.
back of the church that's just open.
Oh,
And then there's a window on the side that's just open. And I mean, it takes all of 2.5 seconds to close it, so.
maybe.
not have,
Failure.
yeah,
So
or board it up.
Unless the window falls,
So-
so you close it.
someplace along the line, I came across this little brochure. I don't know if it was over at the society or what, but it's a company called Arthur Vincent Company, and they're out of New York. And they restore old churches, and
Oh,
they
really?
do all kinds of restoration, you know, marble carved, you know, facades and things like that, and woodwork and doors and, you know. And I just thought it was very interesting. Every time I walk by there and look at those columns, I'm like,
Yeah,
they really need to be redone.
yeah.
But I mean, this would be a company that would do something like that.
What's the name of it?
I'll give it to you. Just if I take it home and never,
Arthur Vincent Company. Okay,
you know,
yeah,
and I mean, the town could get a historical preservation thing through the state.
yeah, I'm probably gonna be working, cause I'm on the facilities thing with the 140
Uh-huh.
Arts, so I think they've kind of put that into my arena now, so I guess I'm gonna have to, I don't know anything about grant writing, but I guess I'm gonna have to start.
I'm scratching my head with what's going on. I mean,
Yeah,
we went to that CPC meeting back in September. and
Yeah.
the CPC seemed to think it was their responsibility to take on a 600,000 or 2 million or $3 million or something. They didn't know what they were doing. And then the story was the selectmen were submitting a warrant article for the full engineered recommendation restoration of Holy Angels, which was 3 million something.
Yeah,
And nothing happened at town meeting, no warrant, nothing. They
well,
pulled.
yeah, I think they pulled it because they're asking for the DPW building and this building, there's $3 million worth of reservation.
Yeah,
Restoration
$5
on
million
this.
right there.
Yeah, so, and I don't know, the DPW was like 30 million, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah,
DPW was
20 million,
3.5 million, I forget the number.
just a study, just a study.
that
Just
was
a
just
study.
a study.
Which is, yeah, was just the study, and then they're suggesting it could be 15 or 16 million
Yeah, yeah.
at May town meeting. For a total of 17 to 19 million, if I remember the numbers, not 30, but
Yeah,
17 to 19, but what I saw is it's a hugely modified plan. The plan a year ago was a new DPW building, now it's add a building and upgrade everything that exists plus a new building. So it's less than building a brand new complex.
oh, it's less, okay.
They've cut
I
it
mean,
down.
they absolutely need office space and that stuff over there. I mean, working out of that trailer is disgusting. It's,
You're working out of a trail?
no, the Bill Taylor and Dennis have been in that trailer. It's the second trailer they've had
Yeah,
since that facility got built 30 years ago.
I thought you were working over there, weren't
No,
you?
I wasn't.
Oh, you're working home, okay.
it's cooling and heating problems. Hot in the
is
summer,
it
cold
cold?
in the winter.
Yeah,
Really?
There ain't people have to work in this.
I was in there.
It's kind of like working at Memorial School.
I was in there
30
this
years.
Sunday, and all Dennis spends all day doing on both those days is trying to keep the heat going, and trying to keep the cooling going. And went through and
Sounds
can't
like
do any other
Memorial
work because the
School.
buildings are just so decrepit, that trailer. I mean, that's one of those temporary office trailers, is all that is.
Yeah,
Been there 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
I
Yeah,
sat there at that meeting that night, and that's all that went through my mind. 30 years at Memorial School, water coming through the roof like rain, the heating system,
Yep.
the bathroom facilities,
I just don't know what.
It was like,
Tax
you know, and I dealt with it for 30 years, and I was like, "Ah, put another 10 years on, guys."
We basically approved $40 million in the last two meetings.
Yeah,
It was 34 million for schools in May and
And
5.5 or 6 million.
why was the school getting CPC funds
That
for
was not,
20 years?
that was not explained.
For the roof?
We approved in May 12 million for athletic field upgrades
Right.
to
I-
the two schools, Mendon and here. And the artificial turf component of it, which is a couple $1 million, that I guess was beat down about 10 years ago, came back and that got approved. And the agreement was that CPC money would be used to pay for that. So the vote at last week's town meeting was solely to authorize CPC money to be used to pay the bill. It wasn't, we weren't approving another bill. We already approved it in May, and that wasn't explained well. That was
No, I went out the door to leave and I was going,
I got it right at the end, right before the vote, and I said, oh, this is what we already approved.
yeah,
Somebody made a comment, and it was simply that it would be supported by Mendon and Upton CPC funds to pay the bill, so it
for
wouldn't be added.
20 years.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be added to our tax bills. It would be taken out of CPC money, just like the town hall is being paid out of CPC money.
Yep.
So that's why they pulled the church article, because they thought it would get voted down because we're already paying so much for these bills.
And I think our fight should be, is to repair the steeple and put a new roof on it. And let it
Yeah.
sit for another year or 2 or 5 or 10, while it has a new roof and the holes in the steeple are repaired, it's not taking it off.
I agree. I think that's the good approach. Although, didn't they say we can't do that for some reason, or?
Well, there was some comment made, which again, I'm gonna say I disagree with, but the comment was made that if you do that, you're now breaking up the restoration of that building into pieces, and that's not allowed by state law
Yeah,
unless it's a full bid.
yeah.
And I think that's a bunch of crap because nobody has agreed to approve anything to that building. So if you say, let's put a new roof on it, we put a new roof on it. And if a month and a half from now, somebody says, oh, we have a plan, we're gonna spend 3 million to do the engineering repairs. Well, you can't say those with the same two discussions.
Right.
The first discussion is the building is known to leak, has holes in the wood carpentry up there on the steeple, and let's fix it and put a roof on it. And you ought to be able to do that, I would think, for $150,000 or less.
And don't we have that money allocated already?
Yeah.
There's 110,000 that was allocated
For paint,
24 months ago at the special town meeting
To
to
paint.
paint the two buildings.
Yeah.
And the painting of the Knowlton Ristine building, according to Mr. Westgate at the town meeting last week, he found other funds that we used to pay that painter, so the 110 is still intact.
All of the 110 is still intact.
So
So,
they had some other fund, slush fund they used to pay for that building, so the 110 is still intact.
Huh.
And I would think it would be pretty close to being enough to put a new roof. I would, a roof on Holy Angel, because I got a quote from Kevin McLaughlin, what's his name?
Yeah, McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, of 40 plus or minus 5,000, 50,000, less than 50,000, excluding the steeple.
Mm.
So that's to put a new roof on the main roof.
that's pretty cheap.
The steeple issue was full scaffolding, which is, you're probably talking 20,000 just to throw scaffolding up before you touch the building to do the steeple. But he could do the roof without scaffold.
Huh.
He's the one who came over and repaired, put half dozen shingles down where shingles were missing and there was holes. And through to the.
But whose responsibility is that to make that happen?
Well, again, my understanding was a conversation between people happened with Joe Layton about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and he had a conversation then with Mr. Westgate that you're going to be responsible for the oversight of public buildings. And that's how the $110,000 warrant article request came up 2 years ago to paint the two buildings. They need painting.
Mhm.
And my comment many times to him was, so you're gonna put paint on the pig while you let the roof leak. It makes no sense to me that paint is the first priority. Would seem to me that repairing the defects would be more critical
Mm.
than putting a roof on it, and then we can talk about money for painting. But
So could we have a meeting with Dennis and the select board and see if we could put the roof on? Should I?
do we go before the CPC and ask for money from the CPC for restoration of the roof? I think they're gonna say, well, it's not historical restoration, that's repair, and that does not qualify in the CPC.
Right.
But we just use
Even
the
though it's a
money,
historical building.
we just use the money that's already allocated, right? Or is that in the CPC funding? There's the 110,000 in the CPC funding bucket? or-
No, that was raised by That was raised by, taxes.
So then we could just we could have a meeting with the select board and say, hey, we have all this money. Can we go ahead and use it? Right? Is there a problem with
You'd
using
have
it?
to have to check with the building inspector first, I would assume.
I wouldn't think so. We can try. I mean, Dennis and the selectmen are well aware of the issue. And all I'm saying is they slice off a piece of the issue and put a new roof on the damn thing and get a carpenter up there to patch the holes in the steel.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
And sit and think and talk but the building stands and the building's dry.
Yeah, we already have the money.
Are there defects on the sides? Yeah, there's defects on the side, but you can't fix everything. If you keep the roof, the rain from coming through the roof, you've solved 90% of the deterioration. You haven't solved all of it, but you've solved 90% of it.
Yeah. So should I do that? Should I write a letter to the select board and CC Dennis and ask for a meeting?
I guess, yeah. I can't think of any other way to approach it. I mean, the unfortunate thing is Dennis is totally overwhelmed by trying to do the two jobs.
The worst that can happen is they'll say, no,
We have.
Yeah.
They'll kick the can down the road.
that's not the way to do it, they'll say, or something like that. But, at least we'll have something to go by.
Yeah, at least we'll have a discussion.
Right,
You got funding in place to put a roof on. And to put out a bid, it take you 2 to 3 weeks to prepare the bid. Take you 2 or 3 weeks to have the bid. You could have a contract at January 1st and say, we're going to permits.
Yep.
Funding exists. We don't have to go ask for funding or anything else, and the funding exists for restoration work at Old Angels.
mhm,
So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I mean, otherwise, we sit here and they sit there and the building sits there and absolutely nothing happens.
Yeah.
Until next year, and then more conversations next year.
and more rot happens
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah,
And that's a 180-year-old building.
So,
And I gotta believe it's in better condition than that, than we're told that part is. Although, who knows?
yeah,
And you had 300-400 people in there every weekend for years, up until 12-13 years ago. The building held up and was happy.
but it's amazing it's held up without half of its foundation underneath it. That was weird that the man did that. to
yeah, you
that.
took out half the foundation. It's kind of weird.
What, only ages?
No, the barn.
Oh,
No. Okay,
Wrap it up?
wrap it up.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joan's gotta get the bid.
I've got I have to be up early tomorrow.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn at 8:14.
Okay, sounds like a good time.
okay, you're gonna second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Oh, sorry, one other thing. I was talking to Catherine and, we were talking about the next meeting date. So, I need to not have it on Wednesday because I have meetings on Wednesday night. Catherine was thinking Thursday. Cause she has.
Suggestion is we skip December like we have the last 2 years. And
Skip
we'll
December?
hold
Okay,
our next meeting in January, and if we want to do it on Thursday, I'm okay with Thursdays.
okay, that works for me. Is that good? Are you going to Florida?
On the 13th.
Okay,
So if it comes before the 13th, I'll be here.
okay,
If not, I won't.
okay. Well, we're aiming for January, I guess. So.
The issue is always conference room availability, and I can't remember, did we start on Thursdays and we moved them to Wednesdays? Under you, Craig? I
We've
think,
been moving them back and forth all.
I think we did Thursday, I did Thursdays because.
Yeah, we were
Thursdays
originally
the-
on Thursdays.
Oh,
Originally,
yeah.
we were the second Thursday of the month. That was our original date back in the
The
day.
conference room downstairs was available on Thursdays, whether it still is, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was the sole issue, is not when we can do it, is.
When the rooms are available, yeah.
Yeah,
And I asked Scott to get us a key for our historical commission room over there, so we can have meetings there in the event that we can't meet here. Cause these rooms are hard to book.
well, with the video and the Zoom stuff, it's hard to have a meeting over there.
Yeah, that's the other problem.
That's the
Oh,
problem.
no, that should work though, because we can, as long as there's internet connection, I can run it from my.
You got a
computer.
hotspot over there?
I think, is there Wi-Fi over there? There must be Wi-Fi over there. Yeah, because when we had the historical society meetings, yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a problem. So in any case, so we're looking, January 1st is on a Thursday, January 8th is on a Thursday, January 15th, I don't know,
How
Well,
about the
people-
15th?
I'll be here on the
15th?
day.
well, you can call in. Right?
Hopefully. I was able to do it last year.
Okay. Okay, so January 15th, does that work for everybody?
January 15th.
That works.
That was me.
Patrick's on board, Catherine?
Looks like she left.
That's fine.
Oh, she's there.
We're not doing one in December, is that? the consensus?
January, we're gonna skip December, and we're
Okay.
gonna go for January.
December would only be, we get a request for something that would have to be
That would have to be, yeah, like a demo or
with
something.
a demo request, but December's usually very quiet, so.
Yeah, everyone's doing holiday stuff. Okay, we'll aim for January. If anyone has a serious problem with that, let me know. We'll think about moving it
All right, so meeting adjourned at 8:16.
Yeah, this was my last meeting.
8:17.
all together.
Happy
Well,
New Year.
Until. you
Happy
sit
New
down.
Year.
Yeah, happy New Year.
Happy
Merry
New Year.
Christmas. Merry
Christmas.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Happy Thanksgiving.
yeah, we're gonna miss all of it.
Merry Christmas.